What's going on, people? Welcome back to the opposition preview as we face the treble winners. And I'm joined by XLB from the XLB channel to get all the insights ahead of the game. So make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and also check out LB channel. The link will be in the description down below. LB, look, great having you on here. The treble winners. I'll be happy with one trophy in my lifetime, but just for City,
well, I said that 15, 20 years ago, and then it all changed.
If your owner's got any cousins or any other billionaires that you don't want to back up, feel free. I'll be happy with that. But just how does it feel being a City fan? Look, going into the season after winning the treble, which is an amazing achievement, were you worried about potentially being complacent ahead of this season? Because I mean, that's a lot to win, and asking the players to go and achieve something massive this year as well. How have you reacted to the treble?
Yeah, and complacency never came into it. Because one reason, Pep Guardiola. I don't think Pep Guardiola would allow it to happen, and I don't think he has allowed it to happen. You know, we're not cooking at the moment, but I wouldn't put any of our results that we've drop points down to complacency. I just think it's poor defending or not taking your chances, just standard football stuff, really. Maybe in one or two of the games been slightly unlucky as well. So now complacency's never come into it. You're probably looking at the drop off in terms of transfers. You lost Riyad Mahrez. You know, he's a quality player, severely underrated in England. You brought Jeremy Doku, who's a great young player, but raw, and of course not at that same level of consistency as someone like Mahrez. You lost Gundogan. The club messed up there, man. Club messed up. They should have given him the contract that he wanted. They were messing around because they wanted Bellingham. By the time they realised they weren't getting Bellingham, they went to Gundogan. He'd already decided he wanted to go Barcelona. We replaced him with Kovacic, who's I think is a good player, especially for the price. But for me, I think he should be a squad rotation player, not someone who's starting week in, week out at this level. And then you got Matheus Nunes, which in my opinion is a panic buy. I think he's a decent player. I don't know about you. I think he's a decent player. I just don't, at this moment in time, I don't really understand where he's going to fit into the team. But I do rate him. I think he's decent. Gvardiol's come in and has been very good. There's been a lot of talk recently about Gvardiol online saying he's been crap since he's come in. He's not. He's been very, very good. He might have had one or two mediocre performances, but other than that, he's been pretty solid. So, listen, I'm pretty happy with where we are. We top the Champions League group with the next round of that. We got Saudi Arabia next week, Club World Cup, to potentially lift that trophy for the first time. We're like 4 points behind Liverpool, despite not winning a game in 4 matches last week. We lost 2 on the bounce back in October. So I'm pretty buzzing with where we are, man. We've not even had Kevin De Bruyne. So, bring it on, man.
So you did say that you're not at your best. Is it a case of missing De Bruyne as well as the transfers, adjusting? What has it been there so far? To be fair, with City, you always turn up. When you need to, you have it in you to go and win 15, 20 games if you need to, or, go on a crazy streak. But why hasn't it been working as much so far this season? Because you currently sit 4th. You're not far off Liverpool, but it hasn't been... how you ended last season. I don't think you've continued it in the same way. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I think there's a few reasons. One, typically City never really do well this time of the year, innit? It's always the second. Everyone knows that. City always normally come alive, and I don't say always because I don't want it to change this year, but usually City always come alive in the second half of the season. We're only 4 points off, so we're not even in a bad situation. But I think there's a couple of reasons. One, obviously, if any team misses a player like Kevin De Bruyne, and you've had your injuries with some of your key players this year, you're going to miss them, right? You're going to miss them. And Haaland's still done very, very well. He's still top goal scorer. I think he's got 24 goal involvements in like 22 matches. So he's still massively doing well, but he's missed Kevin De Bruyne. So that is certainly one. Rodri getting suspended against Nottingham Forest. He missed the Wolves game and he missed Arsenal game. Both games we lost. We were a little bit unlucky in both of those games. Wolves had 1 shot on target and they scored 2 goals. Arsenal, they won by a deflected shot in the end. I don't think there was much in that game. You look at Chelsea. Chelsea was a bit of an anomaly game. You don't usually see those type of games. Poor defending from City. Liverpool, we should have killed them off. We didn't. Let them back in. Spurs, again, we probably should have killed them off. But again, maybe slightly unlucky. I mean, if you look at XG, if anyone cares about that, City had like 3.5 XG. Spurs had 0.51. Very, very sort of like low quality chances that they created. They just scored them all. So I think loads of different reasons all just coming together, but ultimately we're 4 points off the top. We've had John Stones has played about 5 matches. He's underrated. People don't understand how important he is to our
Yeah,
side because
he's
he
great.
pushes Indy. Not everyone understands that when he pushes into that midfield, that's how we won the champion. That's how we won the treble really last year with him pushing in. Rodri's missed a few. Kevin De Bruyne's not been there. You put all that together, plus the fact that City typically don't do that well in this time of the year. I think when you look at it and go 4 points off the top, I think that's pretty decent, really.
So what are your objectives this season then? Is it to match what you done last year? Or would you be happy with just a Prem, Champions League? Like, what do you want as a fan?
Well, it's one of them, isn't it? You know what I mean? Without coming across as arrogant, I think you've always got to try and win every competition that you're in, right? And I look at the Premier League.
You are City, to be fair. You do
and
win
the
a
thing
lot
is
of
as
games
well,
and competitions, so
bro,
I get it.
Who knows how long this is going to last as well? You know, we've got the charges over us. What about if we get kicked out? What about if one day the shake goes? Like, for me, I'm like here for the now. I'm here for the here and now. You know what I mean? So the Premier League, I still think we're the best team in the Premier League. The Champions League, dear man, I've watched so many teams in this Champions League, and I just think that we're better than them all. Real Madrid, I think they're a good team, but I think they lack a striker. Bayern look mid. PSG, just nah. You know what I mean? I think some of the Italian teams, Inter Milan, might be decent, but I think the Champions League's there for City again if we want it. The Club World Cup, obviously, I think we're going to be playing, providing we win our game, Fluminense or maybe Al Ittihad or Al Ahly in the final.
You should be winning that.
Really should be winning that. I actually feel that we won't win the FA Cup this year. I think if we win the Club World Cup, I think he might just say, let's just pause on the FA Cup and really put all our focus into the Champions League and the Premier League. Obviously, it'd be another treble. But that's what I think we're going to do. I think we'll win the Prem. I think we'll win the Club World Cup, and I think we'll win the Champions League. Just because I don't think the other teams are up to scratch. I actually think the most difficult competition is probably the Prem, because I think Arsenal and Liverpool are pretty decent. Would I be happy with just a Prem? Of course I would, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's say when I was growing up, bro, we were arse. I had Stuart Pearce managing my team. Didn't see a goal at the Etihad for like fucking 10 games or whatever it was. Like, it was terrible. So, you know, I'll take a Carabao Cup, I'll take an FA Cup, but at the same time, I've also got to realise that we are not the same club. We're a different club now. And as a result, we've got to have different ambitions. So go for it all, man. And you've also got the best manager in the world. So, you know, you want to go for it all whilst you've got him.
How long do you reckon he'll stay there, LB? Because people, I see every year that, oh, this might be his final season. Oh, it's going to be next season. It's going to be the season following. Do you reckon that Pep's going to be your manager in the next 5 years?
I don't know, man. I mean, all indications are that he loves it in Manchester. I mean, he's here without his family. He's been here for 7 years without most of his family. A lot of his family still live in Barca, although I think his kids come over quite a bit. He has businesses in Manchester now. He owns a restaurant in Manchester. He's got the board who are all come over from Barca, obviously, as you probably know. Like, he's best mates with everyone there. He basically runs the football club. You know, he gets everything that he wants in terms of like training facilities, anything like that.
Anything
like,
you want,
so,
really.
Yeah, anything that he wants, he pretty much gets. But that's what you meant to do when you have a manager like Pep. United had a manager like that when he had Mourinho, and they started telling him he couldn't do stuff and he couldn't have these players. He wanted a centre back, and he was like, "Nah, you can't have a centre back." He's like, "Well, what's the point in getting these managers then if you're not going to give them what they want? You might as well get someone else." So basically, I think for me, there's only a couple of options. If we get relegated because of these charges, maybe he'll go. Although he has said he'll stay, but maybe he's just saying that to sort of like, you know, brave it out. Maybe he gets bored in terms of not winning, bored as in just like life. You know, sometimes he's just like, I want a new challenge or whatever.
You've done all you can.
The question that I ask myself is, where would he go? He's not going to go anywhere in England. This is what I said. If I was England, and I don't like saying this because I'm a City fan and I really don't want this to happen. If I was England, I'd be going for Pep 100%.
But would he go to England, you reckon?
I think he'd go England, yeah. Because, bro, Spain are arse.
To be fair, yeah.
I've been watching Spain, bro, and Spain's players. Of course. England's got a good team. And I think he would. Spain's team's dead, man. I watched Spain a couple of times, man. They got a lot of average players in there. So I think if England come calling,
Spain, to be fair, imagine he wins like World Cup with Spain, like that would be an achievement for him personal level as well. Do you get it? So like, yeah, I think he's national. I think he's done everything he can. Really, he's dominated England. Like for me, I don't know about you, but I think he is probably the greatest manager I've seen. I mean,
he is for me.
Sir Alex Ferguson's there as well, but I feel like with Sir Alex, when you compare him to Pep, is we look at what Sir Alex Ferguson done, which was incredible, I think, for Man United. But in 10 years' time, when we look at what Pep has done for City, if he continues on this level anyways, maybe not yet in terms of the trophies, maybe he could win a few more. I actually don't have the numbers next to me, but I don't think he's matched Alex Ferguson in terms of trophies. I don't think so. That would be incredible.
Yeah.
But like the football that he plays and what he's done to England is unreal. Like, it's unreal, and I feel like he is definitely up there, like as one of the greatest managers of all time.
Yeah,
He's a
he
genius.
is for me as well. And here's another thing as well, right? This will shock quite a lot of people, right? But if City wins the Champions League this year, they're only one Champions League behind United, one,
Mm.
which is kind of mad, isn't it? Because like you look at
You've been
Real
here for a long
Madrid on
time as
like
well.
well, exactly Real Madrid on like 15 or whatever. I think Liverpool are on 6. You got maybe AC Milan on around that number. United have only got 3. You know, United don't really like to go on about how mad they are. You know what I mean? This mad historic club. They've only got 3 Champions
We
Leagues.
matched a treble as well, so like they can't
Well,
really.
exactly. But
Yeah,
imagine,
you have
D,
to
if
get the
we won it
treble.
this year, yeah, if you're Pep Guardiola, you're not going to be sitting there going, fucking hell, if I win another one, not only have I then won more than Sir Alex Ferguson did at Man United, because he only won 2 in 2 decades, which
Mm.
probably doesn't get spoken about enough, but he's also then matched Man City to Man United. So it's all about opinions at the end of the day. But for me, 2 of the best teams I've ever seen was City last year, but the best team I've ever seen, D, was Barcelona under Pep Guardiola.
Yeah.
And you know, that football still, and some City fans don't agree with me, but I still think that was the best team I've ever seen. You know, with Xavi and Iniesta, Messi, Busquets. It
Just the
was just
move and everything. Like, it's incredible. But that's what Pep teams are. And that's why I think he's the greatest, because he's done it at Barca. He's done it over here in England as well. The football that you watch and he wins, like he's just a genius. Like, I just love watching his football. I love watching his football. But look, talking about the opposite, LB, let's talk about Palace. Roy Hodgson, not quite up there when you compare him to Pep Guardiola. What have you made of Palace this season, and just your general feelings towards Palace? Because like we're always stuck in mid-table. I'll be honest. Fans are frustrated. That's why I said if your owners have any cousins or siblings that want to have Palace, feel free, because we do need a shake-up. But what have you made of Palace?
Well, like you say, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but Palace are obviously a mid-table club, right? I don't think they've really got the facilities right now to push on and break into maybe a top 8, but at the same time, you shouldn't really ever be in a relegation scrap. So based on that, you'd have to say that you're at the bottom of where you're expected to be, right?
Yeah.
It could get worse, because of course you could be drawn into a relegation scrap, but that's really so much seriously going wrong. So if you look at where you're supposed to be, you're at the bottom of where you're supposed to be, because I'm looking at the league table and you're 15th. Yeah. No wins in the last 5, only 4 wins all season. So you have to say it's a mega disappointing season for Crystal Palace. Only scored 15 goals in the league, second worst attack in the league. That's shocking. And the thing is as well, I watched a couple Palace games, and I think you've got some decent players in that squad. You know what I mean? But obviously, it's just not working at the moment. I know you've had some injuries as well, which obviously hasn't helped. I said that before about De Bruyne, like your players. You've had some injuries to Eze, I think, and Elise has been injured as well, and probably more. So yeah, disappointing. But I don't know what I don't know. I actually feel that like it's pretty difficult to manage. I'm gonna say run clubs like Palace, because it's almost as like what can you do? Like if, for example,
Well, that's the thing.
if
Yeah,
City
I think
fall
you
off,
need money. You just need money, and we our own. Well, we have basically 3 owners, 3 main owners. Steve Parish, who doesn't have the money, but he runs the club. He has the least amount of shares in comparison to our other owners, but he has a golden share, so he runs a club like that. We got Harrison Blitzer, who own other teams like in the NFL. I think they had like a deal for $6 billion to bought out an NFL team. I think one of the owners, anyways, Harris or Blitzer. So they have the money, but they're not really. They've been interested in United, Chelsea when they were up for sale, for other Premier League clubs whilst owning Palace. And you have John Textor, who has ambitions, but he doesn't have the money. So it's a bit confusing. I feel like in the Prem right now, it's a game just for the rich. It is. And it's just trying to figure out a way around it. We're trying to build a new stand, but we've put all our eggs in our basket for that. And that's like the dream that's getting sold now. But for me, I don't think that's enough. Like, I just feel like something needs to change for us to progress. And I don't think it's good enough right now. But I actually want to quickly go back on City, because I forgot something that you mentioned. You mentioned 115 charges and talked about relegation. Are you actually worried as a City fan about them charges? Because as a Palace fan looking in, I don't think you'll be impacted as bad. I think you'll figure your way out of it. Are you worried?
Well, it's not nice, bro. You know, it's not nice having it over and everyone's going on about it. You know what I mean? One thing you have to do is, and obviously I do it because obviously I did a YouTube, I did a City stuff, but like you have to actually look at what's going on, and
Yeah.
there's loads and loads of misinformation. And I know people will watch this and probably go, of course you'll say that he's a City fan. I have no need to say it. It's true.
Mm.
It's like with the stuff about CAS, you know, when we overturned UEFA and everyone says, oh, you just got off on a time bar. Yes, some of it was time barred, but if you actually read the CAS document, CAS rip into UEFA on quite a lot of the stuff and say, like, I think there was one line in that CAS document. This is available to read online, so it's completely free to read online. The whole judgment's online, like it is for
Mm.
Everton. And one of the lines in there is like UEFA doing what they've done, like with no evidence, is like mad dangerous and like proper reckless. No one speaks about that. You know what I mean? No one
Mm.
speaks about it. So listen, I always say this: I don't know whether City are in this not guilty. I have no idea. I've not looked at the books. I don't know if City have done what they've said. I'm not an idiot. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say one way or another we're in this not guilty. What we'll say is City overturned UEFA when UEFA found us guilty. That's been massively misreported in the press about how that actually occurred, and City say that they have irrefutable evidence. Yeah,
Yeah.
irrefutable evidence. So if they say they've got irrefutable evidence, then I've got to be kind of confident that we'll get not guilty. And then people go down the lines of, well, why have you not cooperated? City cooperate when they need to cooperate and cooperate with certain stuff. I'd also say that this has all come about through hacked emails that City are not confirming whether they are legit or not, because they say they're hacked and it would compromise their position on legal stuff. So City are obviously going to be pissed off about the whole situation because the system's been hacked, and
Mm.
they're saying this isn't right. Obviously, in some countries you can't use hacked information. Like the guy who
Yeah.
hacked us got arrested in Portugal, and the court said
Okay.
you can't use any of his stuff that he's hacked because he's not done it for the greater good. He's a briber. He's blackmailer.
Mm.
But some countries allow it, like Switzerland allow it and all that kind of stuff. So it gets a bit messy.
It's
But
complex, yeah. It's very
yeah,
complex.
it's one of
But
them, man. I'll see
do
what
you feel like
happens.
there's
Yeah.
an agenda towards City? Like, do you think people just want to bring City down? I'll be honest, as a Palace fan, I don't know if every Palace fan's like this, but I would prefer the likes of City winning in comparison to, I don't know, to the Uniteds or even like the Arsenals. I'll be totally honest. And the reason for that is because as you mentioned, City were not always this club. You did
Mm,
go through a struggle period, and there are fans like you that had to go through that period. And now, of course, you have got that financial backing. But not only that, you are a well-run club. Like the facilities are very good. You are improving the facilities. You are helping the local community. And it's not just a case of spending money for the sake of spending money. You spend it in right areas. You brought in a manager. Like it's taking a while to win the Champions League. It's not
mm.
as easy as, oh, we're rich club, we're gonna win the Champions League, but it took you a while. So I personally I would like City to win whatever competition, because at least then United fans or Arsenal fans wouldn't brag as they have been doing for years. And Arsenal fans, to be fair, they haven't won anything recently. But even
Mm.
when they're going for a title charge, you know how they are. So as a City fan, do you think there is like an agenda to try and bring City down?
Yeah, I definitely think there's agenda. I think there's agenda that runs through the media. It probably runs from the bigger legacy clubs, the clubs at the top. And I think it's all because City are doing what they're not doing. City are investing in the team. City want to. This is the thing. City want to win football. City want to win trophies. Glazers don't at United because they're taking dividends. If they wanted to win, they wouldn't take 60, £100 million out the club in dividends a year. So what happens then is they see this shape coming, start spending all this money to try and actually win stuff. So they're not just going to be like, oh yeah, chilling. They're going to start to put out negative stuff through the media and stuff like that. And it's the same with Liverpool. You know what I mean? Because they don't spend as much as some other clubs. And it's the same with other clubs as well. And I just think that like that FFP thing's a load of nonsense. You know what I mean? It's like, for example, Palace, right? You got
Mm.
London tax, so you got obviously that going in your favour. But
Yeah.
imagine you got bought by a rich Donny tomorrow, and this guy was like, oh, this woman was like, you know what? I want to pump money into Palace. I want to take them to the big time. And then you just got some guy saying, oh no, you can't do that. You can't do that because FFP or profit and sustainability rules as it's known now. Well, what are you on about? FFP, bro. And this is what annoys me, man. FFP was brought in to stop clubs doing what City have done to get to the top. But we
Mm.
managed it because we got in there before it fully clamped down. Now, did we
Mm.
do that by cheating, by breaking the rules? We'll find out soon enough when the stuff comes out. But if Palace get bought tomorrow, you're going to be restricted by revenue. Now you can only spend like 70% of your revenue.
Mm.
Well, Palace, you're competing at London. You compete with the Chelseas, the Arsenals, the Spurs. You've also
Yeah.
not got a bigger
Much
stadium
harder.
in the world. How are you going to get the revenues up? So But again, when you try to explain that to some people, not in a patronising way, they don't get it because they've been brainwashed by the media. But
Yeah, they
it's a
have.
shame, really. It's a shame.
Yeah, yeah, and look, we'll see what happens. It'll take a few years, I guess, for the conclusion to actually happen. It won't be like Everton. But let's talk about your strengths and weaknesses then. As you said, you haven't been 10 out of 10 so far this season.
Mm.
If Palace were to get anything out of the game, what do we have to do? Where do we target?
I'd probably say,
Not that there's that many weaknesses.
yeah, no, it's not.
If you ask this question for me, I'll be like, how long have we got?
Yeah, no, it's not necessarily like weaknesses. It's just at the moment we're kind of doing dumb stuff. It's not like I can sit here and be like, oh, if you go down that right hand side, then nah, it's not really like. It's just like the goal we conceded against Luton. Gavardio's got to close the guy down. You know, I want Diaz and Walker to deal with the aerial ball better. You know what I mean? We've just been making silly mistakes where we've not been 100% at the races. So I guess what I'd say is just try and get the ball forward as much as possible. Try and cause some chaos, some confusion around our defenders, because that has been our major disappointment this year. In that we've defensively, we've not kept a clean sheet since 28th of October, which is against United when we beat them 3-0. Since then, we conceded goal in every single game. So, yeah, I'd probably just say, not we have many weaknesses, get the ball forward and just try and create some sort of chaos, Mateta in there, whoever it's going to be, in and around our defenders, and just see if you can get maybe like a bit of a lucky break or whatever, bro.
Yeah, yeah. And then talk about your plays. Is Haaland going to be available for this game? I think Pep said earlier on that he's training on Thursday or he's going to
Yeah.
return. So would he be available?
Well, I guess it depends. Depends whether
Hmm.
or not he wants to risk him. So, but we need to win the
Do you reckon
game.
it
So,
will this game? Is it worth?
yeah,
Well, I guess every game is important now. You don't because it's very Liverpool there, Arsenal there, and I'll be honest with us defensively, we haven't been that great either. To be fair, against Liverpool, that was actually a very solid performance until we got a red card. So
yeah,
you
it
know,
was.
maybe there are some improvements there, but I think Haaland is really the game changer. So if I was him, I'll probably just risk him and then maybe not play
You
him for
got
the
to risk
club.
him when you're
It
4 points
what you
behind, innit, bro?
really. What was
You
that?
gotta you gotta risk him when you're 4 points behind the top of the table. You
Yeah,
can't
you don't
really be
want to be
sitting
that
there.
7 and then all of a sudden it adds up to yeah. You don't exactly. You don't have that clear lead. But if it ain't Haaland, who do we look out for? Who's been the most informed player for City recently?
Well, Alvarez had a weird season, man. He started off the season. He's hardly played as a striker. He played his first game as a striker at the weekend against Luton because he's been playing in the Kevin De Bruyne role because Kevin De Bruyne's been injured all season. Started off the season really well, scoring goals, assisting,
Yeah.
and then he just dipped off. And I don't think he was really doing much different. I just think maybe the luck ran out or whatever. And he's been a hindrance, to be honest. But he's obviously going to be in his natural position. I'd imagine if he does start. Foden was great against Luton. He's back in the midfield, which is his best position. He's obviously cooking. Rodri's he's just the guy. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
he's
We've not
unreal. You
we've
can
not
see
lost
the
a game
talent.
in 44 matches, D, with him playing.
How much is he worth to City? Honestly.
Well, like I just said, we've not lost a game with him in 44 matches. I think we've lost 4 out of our last 5 when he's not started. So how long's a piece of string? Fucking, I mean, honestly, jeez, I have no idea, bro. I mean, you tell me. I mean, if a guy is that important to you, and people call us Rodri FC, and it's like, bro, I can't even hit back at him, man,
But
because we're
then again, is
absolutely
that
shit.
really a bad thing? Because he's incredible. Like he's one of the best,
No, he is, but
if
you
not the
can't
best.
you can't have a
Well, he's the best in his
situation.
position, anyways.
Yeah,
100%.
you can't have a situation, though, D, where if he's not available, you lose. Because statistically, when he doesn't play, we lose.
Well, you got options like Calvin Phillips. What's going on with him?
Nah, bro, he's gone, man. He's gone.
Yeah, but he hasn't
Unfortunately,
really had the opportunity, LB.
he's had a
Has he?
few, mate. He's had a few, and it's just the
Pep was
problem with him is
apologizing to him the other day. That was a bit weird as well. He's apologized.
he's
Like
a
it's my fault. Like I'm very not my fault, but he said I'm very sorry, and I was like, oh,
yeah.
what you sorry about? Like,
I think he's a sorry, bro, because like apparently Calvin Phillips is a proper nice guy. I know a couple of people who've met him at City and around, and apparently he's a proper sound, down to earth guy. He'll just stand there and talk to you for time. And
mm,
apparently in training he's good. So I think, and he wanted to fight. He wanted to stay and fight for his position. He could have left. City were happy for him to leave in the summer. Pep was like, "Yeah, you go." But he wanted to stay and fight. And even when he's had a chance this year, it's just the problem is, bro, he's too slow. Because when you're playing the
mm.
City system as that lone DM, yeah, you got to be quick. You got to be able to cover ground quickly. Because obviously, if we lose the ball, you got to be able to get over it rapid. And he's just, unfortunately, he's too slow. And that's why it's not worked out. This is why I think he works well for England. because Southgate is such a boring manager
Yeah,
that
so
he's
slow.
so slow. Yeah, that he actually plays well. I mean, I remember the last friendlies what he played in. I thought Calvin Phillips played pretty well actually. It's because
Mm.
it's so slow. City not playing that so City try to get the ball forward quickly and move it around. So it's a shame, but yeah, he ain't the one, man.
Let's talk about score predictions. Let's wrap this up. I'll start off. I think honestly, look, this Liverpool game I think was a reaction to the Bournemouth game, the game that we had before, which as a Palace fan, I can't remember. I said it as well on my show. I can't remember ever really seeing the fans sing to the players, "You're not fit to wear the shirt." Before the, in the Bournemouth, it was incredibly that poor. And I think in Liverpool game we saw the reaction. And this game, we're without Jordan Ayew because of the red card. We're with our third choice goalkeeper, Raymond Matthews, who only made his Premier League debut against Liverpool and is 29 years old. We still have Eze out. Lerma, he could be potentially out injured. Edward also as well. So it might be Jairo Riedewald, Mateta. So we're struggling. And Roy Hodgson said as well, it's near enough impossible. So I'm going to go for 3-0 City. 3-0 City. And that could be a good result for us. That's how I was looking at right now. But for LB, after all I've said and how important this game is for you lot, because you're 4 points behind, do you reckon 4, 5, 6?
No. I'm not going that high. I agree on a 3, but I'm going to give you a goal just because, like I say, we've not kept a clean sheet since the 2020 summer of October. It's been a long time since we've kept a clean sheet. I'd be buzzing if I get a clean sheet. I really want one, but if I'm doing a prediction,
15 and 16. So you should, in theory, get and with all the injuries as well, you should be aiming to get a clean sheet in this game. We don't really score that many goals. We don't concede tons as well. We've been a bit
true
recently, but yeah, like you should be aiming for a clean sheet. That's why I said at least 3-0. I think 3-0 would. It's not a good result. Of course, I said it's a good result, but I just think that reaction we saw against Liverpool, I can just see it fading away in this game with how
that was such a blow though as well, because I did a watch along for that game, and you were right. Until the red card, you thought, Palace could do something, and maybe they could get an equaliser, but you didn't think that Liverpool would be able to. They weren't really doing much, and then as soon as the red card happened, you were like, that. You just knew it was game. You was like, nah, that's it, man, it's done. You know what I mean? And then that goalkeeper come on. It was pretty funny you mentioned that goalkeeper. I checked his stats during the game. I was like, let me check this. I've never heard of him. Checked his stats, and bro, the guy, I know he's only played like mainly Scottish football. If you look at his stats, bro, I know it's difficult. It depends on what team he plays for. He's kept like hardly any clean sheets. I was like, this ain't looking good. And then we had the shot.
Even the goal that we conceded, his attempt to dive was just hilarious. Anyway,
I know.
Yeah, like when you look at your attackers and when you look at our goalie, forget about defense. Like all you have to do is have like a Rodri strike for 30 yards out, or someone just take a shot and go, and more than likely it's about to go in. Like that's where we're at. That's where we're at, and we're playing away from home. Funny enough, we have got results against you lot before. It has happened under Hodgson and Vieira as well, but I just don't see it happening now because we just don't have the players. We don't have Eze, we don't have Decore. Elise is going to start, but then we don't have Edward. Mateta is going to be starting, and Mitchell's going to be out, Tyreek Mitchell. So we're having the final client at left back again. I mean, yeah, like you should be beating us. But look, LB, pleasure having you on, bro. Hopefully we have you on for the reverse fixture as well. And by then, maybe we'll be a bit more comfortable. Maybe we have a different manager so we can actually talk about competitive game. But look, before you go, where can they find you, bro?
Yeah, man, It's LB is the City channel. I've got a second channel as well, More LB, if you want to see even more. Obviously we're on a 12th man. I go on now on Mondays, and then sometimes I do other shows as well. You might see me on with D a couple of times, but yeah, man, big up for having me on. Yeah, good show, man.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, LB. Thank you to every single one of you that's watched this. Like, subscribe, leave down your thoughts in the comment section down below, and until next time, up the Palace.